video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and a little bit self-serving. You guys know that I really love talking about unique formulas here on my channel. So I figured, why not do an entire video about it? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about really unique formulations. Some of these are kind of like hybrid products. They'll take different characteristics from a bunch of different makeup categories and kind of create something of their own. Some of these are really multifunctional, but as a whole, all of these products really aren't afraid to sort of break the mold, in my opinion. And I think that makes for a really great product, especially when there's just so much makeup to choose from. So if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up before you go. And if you find me tolerable, please make sure to subscribe as well. So let's first start off with truly an incredible product from Danessa Myricks. And in reality, it's 3 different products, but as a whole, we're going to be talking about the Danessa Myricks Color Fix line. Color Fixes are truly a multifunctional, innovative, hybrid formula. Danessa Myricks is a makeup artist, and she wanted to be able to create formulas that she can use on the eyes, on the lips, on the cheeks. Within the Color Fix line, there are a few different formulas. So there are the cream colors that are foils. So I actually have one of the foils on my lids today. There are the nudes, which are basically different skin tones that you can use to conceal, contour, highlight. There are the nude cream colors, which are a variety of shades, but they're basically just completely matte cream colors. And there are also the Color Fix glazes. They're essentially sort of a hybrid long wear paint that you can use all over the face. These formulas are exceptional in so many different ways. Let's first start off with the pigments. I have one of the foils in the shade Celebration. I have one of the nudes in Nude 8. Both of these are incredibly pigmented. Something that I really enjoy about the product is that because it's so pigmented, you really get a good bang for your buck with these. A little bit is really going to go a long way, and when they blend out, they blend very effortlessly, but they set down. These are very long wear, super budge proof. I mean, even on the Danessa Myricks site, they say that they're water resistant or suitable for underwater. So yeah, they will absolutely last on the skin. Like I said before, they're also really multifunctional, and you can kind of mix and match to create your own custom shade. But the shade range is also incredible. There are a ton of shades to choose from throughout the entire line. The Color Fix Nudes in 8 is what I like to use on my cheeks for a little bit of a bronzed look. If you are looking for a very long wear cream bronzer and your skin tone is similar to mine, I absolutely love this one. It's so thin, and you will need to get used to it at first because a lot of us aren't used to working with a very highly pigmented and thin cream bronzer, but it is so worth it because it really lasts on the skin. It looks like skin as well. And a shade like this is very multifunctional because you can just pop it into the crease, put it onto the cheeks, and you're pretty much like out the door. And because they're so budge proof, because they'll last so long, they're also incredibly crease resistant. I am absolutely going to be trying other shades of the cream color foils. I have the shade Celebration on my lids today, and it just pops green eyes. If you have green eyes, I highly recommend checking this shade out. I usually just tap it onto the lids and then I'll blend the rest out into the crease. It never looks dry on the lids, even though it's a really long wear product. And that's not something that you always get, guys. I just think the formula in and of itself is so innovative, and I just haven't tried anything like it. And then switching over to the glazes, you can use the glazes on the lips, on the cheeks, on the eyelids. But I'm telling you, and I really want to do like a full tutorial on how I create it, but talk about like the easiest crease proof glossy lid I've ever used is using these two in combination. That's what I have on my lids today. Every single glossy lid creases. I don't actually really mind a lot of creasing, but if you want a long wear glossy lid, and I know that sounds crazy, this is what you want. You want this duo. It will get you there so fast. But I love this gloss, especially for the lids, because it doesn't feel really heavy. There are some glosses where you kind of look around and you can feel the gloss sitting on your lids and like sticking. You never get that with this. Across the board, incredible, unique formulas, multifunctional, and I can't say enough good things about them. Next up, we have the Rowan liquid lip balms. In a time when everyone is wearing gloss all the time, me included, I love gloss. Sometimes it's nice to just be able to wear something that's a little bit more low maintenance than a gloss, but it's still going to give you a really pretty shine. And hey, it might as well really nourish the lips as well. These do it all, and I'm so glad that I decided to try these, and I feel like they're another really underrated product. So these are liquid lip balms, but they're supposed to kind of give you the glossiness that a gloss might. Really enjoy this formula and think it's really unique for a few different reasons. One, the formula is very, very gel-like and plush and comforting, but it's not really thick. I think that's when a liquid lip balm can kind of go wrong. It's actually more on the thin side, and yet it has comfort to it. Do incorporate a bunch of different oils within the lip product to make it feel nice on the lips, I think. They really just feel like a lip balm once they're applied, but just elevating. You can tell that it's an expensive product, and these are $28, so certainly more than like buying a chapstick, but I would recommend them over and over again. I have all 3 shades, and all 3 of them were really well thought out, and I think they're all very flattering. And another reason I think that this formula is incredibly unique is the pigmentation, the pigments that they've incorporated into this. The way the pigments go onto the lips, it reminds me of stained glass, because, you know, stained glass has a color, it has a shine, but it also has a translucence to it. It's just such a flattering way to incorporate pigment, because it's not going to look too chunky or like too noticeable that you have pigment on the lips. It's elegant. There's really like a very effortless elegance to the product once it's on the lips, because it's natural, it's subtle, but it's still there. You know, I love makeup that way. It never reads as a lot of lip product on the lips or a lot of color. It's just overall a really gorgeous, flattering formula. And I do also really like the Rowan eyeshadows. I think that's also just an innovative formula in and of itself, but I don't think that people talk about these enough, so I really wanted to highlight them. And next, my baby. So you guys know I am a Glossier rep. I talk about a lot of Glossier products on my channel, but this is just the one that has impressed me, and I talk about it a lot, but I just really don't have another product quite like it. And I do think that it is the most innovative formula that Glossier has come out with. It is the Glossier Future Dew. I really love this for a few different reasons. One, it is a skincare product, so it has skincare benefits to it. There's squalane and other oils in here to really nourish the skin, and it has a skincare texture. It's actually an emulsion. It's a hybrid oil serum. It basically emulsified it so much that it created this new more liquidy formula. It definitely is somewhere between a facial oil and a serum, and it makes your skin look so glassy, and like 3 seconds you're done. The texture itself is liquidy, but it has that unctuousness, like it has a luxuriousness to it. And I think that is what makes this formula, the glow that it gives, that glassy look that it gives your skin, I think that's what actually makes it last, is the texture of this. Because there are plenty of glowy products that you apply and you're like, oh, I like the way it makes my skin look, but this actually lasts. It will last throughout the day to maintain that glow through your foundation, or you can just wear it on its own. I also do that. I do get questions about how I use this, like what step I use it in. I use this mostly as just a primer. After I've applied all of my skincare, including sunscreen, and I've let it set, I will then go in with this over it. It really is that shortcut to exceptionally dewy and fresh looking skin. Whenever I feel like my skin just isn't doing well, I can apply this. It just gives you that after facial glow very quickly. I did an entire video about my favorite glass skin primers. And after I tried out so many different glass skin primers, I honestly just went right back to this because it's just my favorite. Next up, a formula that is still pretty new to me. It is the Nudestix Magnetic Plush Paint. I'm actually wearing the shade Hot Paprika on my lips today. These are so cool, and I'm so glad that I gave them a try. I was a little bit nervous to actually give them a try because I was afraid they were going to be a really drying product. This formula is very thin, but it's silky and it's soft. So these are magnetic lip plush paints. So they're marketed as mainly used for the lips, at least in the name, but they do say that you can use this on the lips, on the cheeks, and on the eyes. A lot of Nudestix products are multifunctional that way, but these I think are definitely a standout within the Nudestix line. So the formula is very thin and it has a silkiness, it has a softness to it, but it's also very lightweight. And it sort of blends to a matte finish, but it's not a drying matte, it's almost like a soft matte, like a blurring matte. They apply beautifully to the lips, beautifully. They give the lips such a plush look, a very soft, blurred, blotted look, very even pigmentation as well. They will transfer a touch, but they're not a messy product. They really lock into the lips. And this shade, Hot Paprika, when I saw it online, I knew I was going to love it, and I really, really love it. It definitely sets down to that like plushy matte finish. I love that they called them plush paints because that's such a perfect way to describe them, but they're never drying. They're just really beautiful once they're applied to the lips. But you can also apply them to the eyes and to the cheeks. They work really well on the lids, especially if you want more of a crease resistant matte product for the lids. And the only thing that I have on my cheeks today is Hot Paprika. It's the only thing that I put on, and it blends gorgeously. I think using a sponge is a better way to go with this, but if you do want a lot of pigmentation, you want a little bit more drama, you can go onto the cheeks with fingers. This shade is also incredibly gorgeous. It just brings such a life to your look. Really unique shades as well. They last on the skin. On the cheeks, they do have that sort of subtle blurring quality. These were actually made in Korea, and I think we all probably know that K-beauty just has some of the most innovative, creative formulas out there. I'm not surprised to see that they were made in Korea. These actually do kind of remind me of the Peri Para Airy Ink Velvets, if you guys have tried those, but I actually like these more. They have that plushiness and that blurring quality. Really, somehow when I apply these, my lips look bigger. And it's not just because they're defined, like the texture of these just make the lips look voluminous. I don't know how they did it, but again, huge thumbs up from me on this. I think this is a very, very unique formula. A product that I do think has been misunderstood for a while. I totally have a thing for like misunderstood people. I often find myself being misunderstood, so I've always had a sort of soft place in my heart for this product. It is the Hollywood Fullest filter from Charlotte Tilbury. I think more people know now what this product really is and how it's used. Charlotte Tilbury calls it a liquid tinted complexion booster for a superstar youthful glow. So if you just read that, you would probably think that it's like a skin tint product, but it's not. But this formula is very skin tint-esque. It comes with like a big doe foot applicator, but to me, when you apply it to the skin, it definitely feels like a skin tint. What I think this formula is, if I could describe it, I think that it is a soft, blurring, subtle liquid highlight with just a touch of tint to it, like a touch of coverage. Not really a lot, really the bare minimum. I think that's why people were applying it all over their face and they were like, what's happening? I think that this formula is really unique for a few different reasons. I see a lot of people trying to look for a dupe of this product, and I don't think that there is a dupe, if I'm being honest. But I do think that you can get a similar effect with other products. But what makes this innovative, what makes this different, it's what I have on my cheeks today, is that they've combined a liquid highlight, a very subtle skin-like liquid highlight. They gave it a soft sort of blurring quality, and then they offered it in different shades to match a skin tone. So that makes it even more like truly believable when it's on the skin, that it's not a liquid highlight, that it's just like glowing skin. And it's a very believable highlight when you just apply it onto the cheekbones and you just call it a day. You can use this under foundation, but I also like to just tap it onto the cheekbones when I'm done my makeup. At the end of the day, you could just take a liquid highlight, apply it under your foundation, put foundation on top, and use like kind of like a blurring foundation, and you would probably get a very, very similar finish, right? You're checking all the boxes. You have the glow, you have a little bit of coverage, you have that sort of tinted aspect when you just apply foundation over it. But this formula on its own as like a one-use product, I think definitely broke the mold. There wasn't really another product necessarily like this. They pulled everything that they liked out of a skin tint, out of a highlight, out of a primer, and then they put it all into one. So I think it was a very, very beautiful job done by the team at Charlotte Tilbury. A very beautiful and unique formula that I'm glad more people understand now. Have a couple of more. We have the new Paprika Double Take Cream Blushes. I did an entire review on this shade, which is Do We Know Her? Since that review, because I completely fell in love with the formula, I also bought She's So LA, which is more of a bronzy shade. What is so innovative about this formula is also why I was a little bit skeptical of the formula as well. And that tends to be the case when we're talking about innovation. But what is innovative about this to me is that you apply the powder onto the cheeks and then you actually apply the cream on top to kind of give the cheeks a little bit more pop. These work incredibly well together, and I think that they're better when they're together, which is really important, especially if you're going to invest in a product like this. It totally changes the notion that you have to put a powder over a cream. Powder itself is incredibly finely milled. It has a very soft blurring quality to it. Blends effortlessly onto the skin. The cream has a creaminess to it, but it also has like a soft slip, and it's more on the thin side. When you blend it onto the skin, you can kind of feel how it transforms, but it doesn't stay tacky on the skin. And the shades really work together, especially this compact. This is Do We Know Her? This is certainly my favorite out of the two shades that I tried because you have this really gorgeous, like soft peach color, and then you add that sort of bright coral pop. It gives the cheeks a dimension because the two textures also work together. You know, you have a sort of softness to the cheeks and then a pop and a light that you add when you do put the cream on, but it's not too dewy, it's not really tacky. You can layer it and it doesn't look heavy. It's surprisingly easy to work with. You get quite a lot of product in here, and it also lasts on the skin. Really impressed with this formula, and I try out a ton of blush. If you're new to my channel, everyone else on my channel already knows that I have a slight obsession with blush, especially cream blush. The fact that I'm so enamored with this, especially in this Do We Know Her shade, I mean, I feel like that just says enough. And lastly, we have these little pots. These are the Rituel de Fille Ash and Ember Eye Soots. I feel like loving cream products has become like a philosophy on my channel. I adore cream products. It's what I reach for every day. And I have not been a huge fan of powder shadows because they tend to look dry on my eyes. They kind of take away from the texture of my lids. I just feel like my lids look a little bit heavier. It's just a little bit less light and not look as skin-like as I want, really. So what makes these different is that I think they're the perfect combination of a cream and a powder. They're basically pigments that have been mixed with different oils, so they have a creaminess and they look creamy on the lids, but you just apply them with a brush. You stick your brush into the little top of the pot and then you just apply them like you would a normal powder shadow. They totally have that sooty quality, but when you blend them onto the lids, they almost melt. They really blend absolutely beautifully, and they leave more of a creamy looking finish on the lids rather than a flat look, which is really all I can ask for. Your lids never look weighed down having had these on. And aside from that, they have some really gorgeous, incredible colors that I'm just not seeing other brands come out with. Half Light is by far my favorite. It's just a gorgeous, more taupey shade that's never too cool. It's really just an iconic crease shade for me. There's also Golden Age, which is a really beautiful vintage gold shade, as well as Love Spell, which I really don't like a lot of warm shadows. I'm a little bit picky with the warm shades that I choose to use, but this one just makes the eyes pop. Just as a whole, like an absolutely gorgeous formula. Now, if you wanted something like super pigmented and crease resistant, I would probably go with the Danessa Myricks over these, but if you prefer a more washed out sort of natural pigmentation that just looks creamy on the lids, I absolutely adore these and have loved them for quite a while. So that about wraps it up, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I would love for you to subscribe if you enjoyed the video as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.